So, one of my coworkers is having a baby, and historically, I don't really make things for my coworkers very often, but the one time that I do is typically when they have a child. So, I wanted to make him a sheep. I found this free sewing pattern from Sewrella called the Little Crochet Lamb, and it looks absolutely perfect for what I'm trying to do. I'm going to attempt to make it. One of the yarns I ended up getting was Big Twist in white, and then the second one was actually what was recommended in the pattern, which was 24/7 cotton by Lion Brand in the color Ecru. The total ended up being $9.83. The first order of business was creating all the bobble stitches, which was for some reason super difficult for me. I was not able to get the bobble stitches to be what was described in the pattern. I did and undid it a lot of times. And I just ended up looking up what like a regular bobble stitch was and just using that, which I think made the pattern turn out a little weird, but I really just could not get the pattern to work. And people on Ravelry seem to have done it appropriately, so I don't understand what my problem was, but I really just legitimately could get this to work. I spent hours and hours and hours trying to make it work, and it just didn't look right, and the dimensions did not look right, so I kind of had to freehand a little bit using the pattern as kind of a loose guide. So far, I've made this, which is supposed to be the nose in the head, and this is made out of cotton yarn. And then I have also started on this, which is supposed to be the back of the head, and you can see the little bumps with the bubble stitches. Also, I swear on some of these rounds, the stitch count numbers didn't line up with even what was in the pattern. So I don't know if that was a user error or what the pattern was saying, but that was my experience. Once I got the bobble stitches down, I was able to kind of speed through the rest of the pattern making. And I did not necessarily really enjoy making the bobble stitches. The way you make a traditional bobble stitch is you do a few, I think, double crochets or treble crochets into one stitch, and then you pull your hook out, insert it into one of the stitches you made, and then pull the loop through. And I just do not find that pulling out of the hook to be a fun process. It always makes me feel really anxious, like I'm going to lose a stitch, even though I'm not. And it just takes me out of my rhythm. So I didn't particularly enjoy making all the bobble stitches. But the cotton yarn was actually really easy to work with. I did enjoy using it, and maybe I will consider using this in the future for something like a purse, considering I do have a rather significant amount left over. In the end, I ended up making some arms, some legs, the body, the cotton head part, and then also the white sheep head part. I elected not to make the ears, or I did make the ears, but I elected not to use them because once I held them up kind of on the head, I just didn't like the way they looked, so I elected not to use those. And like I said, I had a large amount of cotton yarn left over and a small ball of the white. The sewing process was fairly painless. The pieces were fairly large, and so I didn't have too much issues sewing them together. Sewing things together is not my forte. It's not my favorite part of any type of construction of a project, but it feels like it's where everything comes together. I elected not to use safety eyes instead of embroidered everything because this is a gift for a baby, and even though I feel like a lot of people don't actually give my handmade gifts to their children, they tend to use it as a keepsake or a decorative item. I want to make sure that if this is potentially given to a child, that they won't accidentally rip it out and eat it and choke. I also elected to not do the embroidery on the feet because I thought it just kind of looked stupid. No offense to Sewrella. Obviously, I think he's very cute. Got some embroidery details for the eyes. I think it's kind of funny because he is very rotund. I did reduce his neck to almost nothing. Reduce your neck to 0. As you can tell, my finished product does not necessarily look like the Sewrella's finished product, but I think it looks fairly close. Final thoughts, I would not make this again. It was just super complicated and I hated the bobble stitches. I think I would opt for something else. It was a free pattern though. Yeah, I just didn't enjoy it.